Oh, that just pops right on up there. You like
Mm.
that, Becky? Hey, y'all. Well, I'm excited because it's been a minute. It's been a
Yes.
minute. It has
And
been
it's,
a minute, y'all.
it's kind of my fault that it's been a minute. I was on the road for 2 weeks. Wow, 2 long weeks. Woo.
2 long weeks. Yes.
Yes.
And yes, I was able to sleep in on those days that he was on the road. So it all worked out great.
You know what? We're gonna talk about that later, but okay.
Okay, all right. So I guess let's see how we gonna kick this off. All right, so the topics today. Oh my gosh, Snuggles is here. Snuggles, Snuggles, Snuggles. It's been a minute. Oh, hey Naima. Okay, y'all is here. Y'all rocking. I love it. Let me throw y'all up in here. All right. So we about to get it. We about to get in this thing, y'all. We got a lot to unpack. We do because it's been 2 long weeks, and we got a lot of stuff kind of rocking and developing, and we're gonna unpack some things today. So um, I've been wanting to tackle this for a while. I'll say that. I've been wanting to tackle this conversation for a while because I'm talking about for years. Because I just see a lot of disingenuous responses when it comes to this question, right? Y'all, excuse me, I'm just adjusting this laptop a little bit. Um, oh, and happy Black History Month, y'all. Even though y'all know we celebrate this thing, uh, this is 365 over here. But happy Black History Month. We are officially into our second full week of Black History Month. And there have been a happy belated birthday to both revolutionary giants and greats, Huey P. Newton of the Black Panther Party, or the Black Panther um, historic epic organization. And Michael Jordan celebrated his birthday yesterday as well. And we know Michael Jordan has been doing the work of Black excellence for
Um,
for many years.
I got to call a timeout. I'm sorry,
How you gonna call a timeout, Devon? How you gonna call a timeout, hubby? Husband?
baby. You know I love you.
Yeah, I do.
You
I
you
do.
know I love
Devon, don't
you.
start. Don't start. Don't start. Don't start.
How could you even mention Huey and Michael Jordan in the same? How?
They have the same birthday. That's how. They have the same birthday, February 17th. They have the same birthday. That's how. That's
I'm
just how.
pretty sure there's 1,000 other people that have that same birthday.
Not any that I've recognized. Huey P and MJ. See how I went from there? I faded back. I faded back. He Black excellence, Black excellence, Black excellence. We gonna clap it up. We gonna clap it up. We gonna clap it up. We're gonna throw up the fist and we're gonna clap it up.
All right, you know what? Um,
Hey, if you get to talk about Sassy Pat, you get to you got to send me a text message. Your homie, your
my homie.
homie. Yes, yeah.
First of
You
all,
you got to send me a text in the middle of me enjoying my Sunday self-care day. You sent me a text about my homies for the win, then I can clap it up for
no,
Michael Jordan's phone.
I was just giving you an update. That was it. I was down in Houston. We was at the sports bar. We was watching the game.
I didn't
We
need an
was
update.
winning.
I didn't need that. I didn't need to know what Sassy Pat was doing. I didn't know. I didn't need to know what Sassy Pat was up to. I
I was
knew
giving you an update. That's all.
because again, I knew. I said I knew. I knew. I said it's gonna be. I knew it was gonna be another win. I knew it was gonna be something else.
Oh, you know what?
Naima.
Well, let me clarify that quote, because the quote was, and because I know this
Okay.
quote. So
Okay.
Naomi,
Yes.
and peace to you too, sis. Um, this is what was said. He was asked if why he doesn't speak on social issues, and his response was because white people buy sneakers too. That's the
Mhm.
quote.
Mhm.
Yes, I was done with
Um,
Michael.
okay, well let me just say again, we have probably all said some things, present company included, that may not be the best representation of our elevated selves. But I'm talking about when it came down to who was gonna get it done, baby. Okay, it didn't matter, baby. The time of day, baby. Okay, okay, my
You
babies.
want me to hit
I'm
this switch
getting. I'm
again?
going on I'm going on my Monique. Okay, babies. When it came down to who was gonna get it done, baby, it was you wanted the ball in his airness hand, and he quintessentially, y'all. I mean, I'm just gonna step on this for a little bit because it's we getting into these topics. But Michael Jordan changed the. Naima said, "I like Michael Jordan, one of the greatest athletes ever. Absolutely, black excellence." Michael Jordan changed the power of the athlete's image. He did that. He did that. And he had to live by a certain lifestyle to be able to do that. He did that. I'm not saying that Michael Jordan didn't do his dirt. I'm not going to sit up here and say that. I haven't heard some very questionable things about certain things that he's told people and where they can go and what type of trash receptacles they can take their game to his own teammates. I did read the Jordan rules and I was flabbergasted. That's why it was so weird when people were talking about the last dance. Because I'm like, did these people not read?
No, because there's a whole new generation that was just seeing Michael Jordan for the first time.
But the Jordan rules, this man was cutting practices and telling people they could they wasn't fit to put their uniforms on. They could take that uniform and put it in the trash and keep it moving. He was slapping up players. Michael was, I've heard some things. I've heard some things. They say Draymond. We talk about Draymond. Draymond just is in a different generation where that stuff is on camera. They said Michael was
And,
handling
and,
handling
and,
handling
and,
his man.
Draymond is doing his uh in the public eye.
Yes, yes, and
But
Michael was not.
there's one thing I'll say about Mike though,
Okay,
and Mike wasn't a dirty player. Draymond is kind of a
never.
dirty. No, no, no. Let me put it different. Draymond
Right.
is a fake bully, and
Mm,
the things he do now, he couldn't have got it off in the 80s and the 90s because somebody would have punched him in the face.
right.
And
Right.
because of that culture from back then, and it's crazy because we had this conversation last night about which is I'm gonna get into that. It's kind of like a nice little segue into my topic.
It is.
But there was rule changes put in effect because of so many fights on the court. You know what I mean? David Stern, at the time, he was like, listen, this is not, we don't want a league of thugs. So, when
Right.
the things that Draymond is doing now, back then, it would have been all our brawls. Like they would have been on them court and they would have been throwing them hands. So this is why he's able to get this off because of those rules that were put into effect.
Well, he would fit right in with the Pistons. That's what they were
No,
doing.
he ain't tough like that. He ain't built like that. He know that these guys, he know that this generation of ball players is soft as cheeks. They soft. They
Right.
punks. You know,
Right.
it's easy to pick a fight with a guy who doesn't want to fight. You know what I mean? Like I've been smacked the whole holy hell out of this dude for the crap that he pulled on the court. But he knows there's not going to be any repercussions, so he gets it off. And this is what
Yeah.
bullies do. They look for victims, not opponents. He's not looking for an opponent. He's looking for victims. He know he can get it off. Mike never did that. Mike didn't do that. Mike,
Mm-mm.
Mike gave a different kind of fear. Which is why LeBron will never be the GOAT. That's
Let,
all.
let, let
All
me let me lean in
no,
because
wait, wait,
I like this conversation.
let me get
What
this.
kind of fear he gave off, babe? What kind of fear he gave off, babe? What kind of
This
fear
is
he
this
gave
this is
off?
this. Let me be very clear about something. I don't like Mike. I do not. I'm a Knicks fan. This man broke my heart many, many times. Okay, and it's quite possible if I'm in the same room with Mike, I might want to fight. Just saying. Let me put that out there. No, it's the truth. I'm gonna put that out there like
He's not
that.
gonna fight
Right?
Mike, y'all. Not on
Let's
my watch. He is not gonna fight
and,
Mike.
and, and in my early years when I was into the gambling and things like that, Mike cost me quite a few dollars. So like I said, me and Mike in the same room, I might want to fight. But with that being said, I will say this: Mike gave a fear. They feared him in the NBA. Like you know, they looking at the calendar, like damn, we got the Bulls. Damn, we got to contest with Mike. We got to deal with Mike. Minute left in the game. The Bulls is down a point. Like damn, they feared Mike. Nobody fears LeBron. This is why LeBron will never be the GOAT. I don't care what he does, how he
You don't
does.
think they fear LeBron?
No, I'm just saying this is but nobody this is the kind of fear that Mike, it was a different kind of fear.
Well, and I want to also say, I appreciate what you're saying, and I do believe that, yeah, I don't think Mike, and that's why I said when it comes to work ethic, when it came to, there was no one that could speak ill, but it's a lot of things with Michael Jordan's character um as far as his social engagement it was questionable at some certain times, but again, I just wanted to acknowledge two legends in their own right on their shared birthdays, which is
Mm.
February 17th. All right,
Oh my
all right.
God, I can't believe you just did that.
That fade away, but that was smooth. That was smooth. That was Mike with that. I was Mike with that. I leaned back with it too. I leaned back. I leaned back. Oh, Naima says, I love my New York teams, but I wouldn't bet against Michael Jordan.
Hey,
Yes,
listen, I was young. I
young,
was young, and
full of arrogance, full
yeah,
of Aries arrogance.
and die hard. I mean, die hard. Like you talk bad about my Knicks, man. We got to get right. We got to knuckle up. That was the level of my love for these Knicks. Not so much
Idolatry.
now, you know.
Idolatry.
It, it, I'm not saying it wasn't. I'm not saying it wasn't. I'm just saying I was extremely heavy into sports, and like every sport, from football, basketball, especially football. Football, like even still now, you won't catch me without my giant cap on. I rep my NYG to the. But anyway, again, different subject, different topic. But Naima, I was young, and I lost a couple dollars. I did over the years. I did. You know, Mike broke my heart
And
on
I
many
will say
occasions.
this too in closing about that. Michael has done. He has done some things as far as in the with setting up the free clinics, which was a suggestion from his mom, and he has been pretty solid in developing those, and I think he has the one in Atlanta, he has a couple in North Carolina. So again, I, I'm not into idolatry, and I understand this man is with fault as well. But I just wanted to acknowledge during this Black History Month, this Black Excellence, Awareness Month, that two giants shared the same birthday, and so that's all I wanted to say about Michael Jeffrey Jordan and Huey P. Newton. Brilliant, brilliant man, brilliant mind, absolutely, undeniably. So we gonna get into it though, because it is Sunday, y'all. And this has been, like I said, a topic I've been wanting to tackle for a minute, for years, because there's a lot of disingenuous when it comes up in regards to why are black churches dying when black churches literally created communities. Why is it that there's such a pull away from black churches? The last 20 years, I would say, have been the strongest movement, are the strongest proof of that. And now, for the first time ever in our history, as far as Black, in our history in the United States, we are dealing with generations of kids that never stepped foot in a church. Like that is that's shocking and alarming to me personally, because we were very heavily involved in our church. Sometimes it was an Episcopalian church, and so that gave a different, St. Timothy's Episcopalian Church in Daytona Beach. It gave a different insight onto the dynamics of churching, because we didn't grow up the traditional Baptist church, because that's a whole nother caveat. And that's a whole nother out reality that I didn't learn of, and literally until I was in my late 20s. When people talked about churches and things that go on in churches, I was like, that didn't happen at my church. That didn't happen at our church, which was Episcopalian. But the reason why I said I've been wanting to tackle this for years is because I feel like there's a real disingenuous rather response, because I believe a lot of us like to say, oh, it's the biggest. This is one I really hate to hear. The biggest hoes in church. Well, if you like hoes, then why would you not be in church then? Like, don't tell me that the biggest hoes are in church, but you reading all these quality women in these other spaces, and like they're quick to point out the hypocrisy of church without acknowledging their own hypocrisy. Because aren't you in fact looking for a hoe, sir? Aren't you in fact looking for we're looking for excuses at this point. We're not looking to elevate.
In the club making it rain.
Exactly, what you talking about, some, oh, I don't want to go to church because the hoes in church. Sir, you like that. But this is why I had to. I've been quiet in a lot of these conversations, in the rooms where this does pop up, because I would be kind of torn with not wanting to really get into these discussions, because I'm in these environments where I believe the people, like I said again, they're not going to be honest they're going to be very disingenuous. A lot of the people that spark up these conversations, they're older, and they're saying, they're trying to figure out how to engage kids. And I said, they don't really want to engage kids, because they, like I said, it's a blatant hypocrisy that's going on both sides. And then when I am talking to youth, I'm not really talking to youth about, hey, why don't you like going to church? Because quite honestly, youth, at least youth are going to do whatever the parent is doing. I think it's still that way, but now the parents ain't going to church. And so guess what? Now the youth ain't either, because that was a very big thing in our household. We would all try to be quiet at about 7 a.m. on Sunday, because we were like, the quieter we were, hopefully our mom wouldn't wake up, and now it'd be time to go to church. It'd be like, everybody be quiet, don't move, everybody move. And so, but now the kids, now they don't have to worry about that. And there's a real detachment. And I believe that our culture, our community, our villages are absolutely suffering. But then at the same time, we're saying, why is this happening? Why are our communities like this? Why is there no respect for elders? Da, 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 da. Church really created a solid formula of principles, of morals, of hierarchy, and of submission, right? It disciplines, it put things into place. And when I say this is when people like to say, well, not these churches nowadays, because the pastor's sleeping with, if the pastor's fondling the sheep, and they talking about Jamal Bryant want to bring weed to church, and they want to have smoke rooms, and I'm saying that's all very well true, but that does not mean that again, church is not that. That's all well and true, but it does not mean that church is not that there, because of that detachment from it, have we seen these other things
I have a
suffer
question.
because of it.
I have a question.
Okay.
Um, these people that's saying these things about the church itself,
Right.
um, are they even picking up a Bible? Like, you don't necessarily have to be in the actual building. The church itself is just a building.
Right.
What makes church is the congregation, the people around. So my question to them would be this: okay, so you don't want to go inside the building, but are you actually picking up a Bible? Are you actually reading scripture? Are you aligning yourself with people who are of the Bible? I'm not of the Bible, of the church, but not in the church. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I get what you're saying, and I think
Yeah.
I think like let's be honest here.
Because I don't even think that's happening.
Some happen because, like, again, these are conversations that I would find here and there. Some are not. Some are people that are actually in the church, but they're still having these conversations of why, it's like the disbelief, like I don't understand it, but they're in the church. But case point example, which we were talking about last night, when we went to a church literally on Resurrection Sunday, and the pastor was saying that, the whole Easter eggs and bunnies, and that is pagan and that's not to be celebrated. We're talking about the resurrection of our Lord and Savior. And a family that was attending that church that day invited us to dinner, and we went to dinner and at their home, and what they had decorating all over the house: Easter bunnies, eggs.
And it was an Easter egg hunt
It
that
was
Keon
exactly
won.
that my son, because y'all, his birthday is on the 23rd. So he, so the excellence is in the tooth three. So he won that. He unexpectedly he won that. Won a nice little gift basket. It was. Um, but so we'll say, oh, why are things this way? But we refuse to listen and to follow the doctrine. I saw a very poignant post with Sister Songstress extraordinaire Tasha Cobbs Leonard. And she said it's easy for us to follow God, to want God's will, but it's not easy for us to want it his way. Y'all, I was done. I almost rolled off the bed. I really did. Because it's so true. Like, because we know his will for us is to what? It's to love us and to prosper us, not to harm us, not to hurt us, right? So we know, so it's easy for us to love that. But when he's saying this is how you gotta live, this is what you gotta do, you gotta praise him in the storm. You gotta, stick to these principles. You gotta be willing to submit always. You gotta adhere to the hierarchies, okay, that are set up even in our own household structures, where the man is the head. Absolutely. Man follows God and woman serves man, and children obey in the family structure. That's the way the hierarchy is supposed to go. And we don't want to have these conversations because 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 you know we want to we want things to, again, we wanted our way, but we want his will. We want his will, but we want it our way. I did it my way, Frank Sinatra style. Okay. So I'm like, it's time for us to start not just having these real conversations, but actually being committed to, doing the work in order to turn the tide with this. Because I'm telling you all right now, a generation of us with no principles, no morals, no discipline, no guidance, everybody just kind of every man for himself is going to be absolutely detrimental when we're looking forward. I have a thought that uh Generation Z is going to be reflective of what the silent generation was. And they came off very uncaring, no social movement activism, no justice type of response, no they came off like these things just happen and it is what it is. They just accepted it instead of operating with a sense of moral responsibility, accountability. They became mute. They became mute. They got through hard times. This was the 1920s to the 1940s. So you're talking about the World War. You're talking about the stock market crashing. You're talking about their what happened, the Great Depression. This was during that time, you know, and I think this is what we're going to set Generation Z up for if we do not become very intentional about reconnecting our children, our grandchildren back to the word of Christ. So that's my take. You can go ahead, babe, if you
Okay.
have anything to feed into.
Just to circle back slightly on when you was talking about the Easter thing
Mhm.
and the holidays. And
I have to go get my laptop cord. I can hear you. I just have to get my laptop cord.
okay.
Keep going.
And literally me and my wife were talking about well, I was doing some, I was going through the book, whatever, and came across what is it? Leviticus 23, and it was talking about holidays. And then I was reading BibleTools.com, where it was talking about holidays and where the holidays that are celebrated today, even though they are considered Christian holidays, like these holidays are not even mentioned in the Bible at all. And the bulk of these holidays is in July. There's none in December. There's none in whatever Easter is, and like these things are not mentioned. Um, my wife did tell me though that there was that the resurrection is mentioned, um, but these holidays they don't exist in the book. They don't. They're not mentioned. These are all literally made up holidays over the years, or and we all know that Christmas was pretty much invented at the see if I say this right, at the Council of Nicaea. Did I pronounce that correctly?
It's Nicene, the
Nicaea,
Nicene Creed. Yeah.
right? So we know that. Um, but like I said, like and it seems like during the course of my reading last night, the biggest holiday that was celebrated was the Day of Atonement, and the Day of Atonement, it is if I'm not mistaken, I believe it's a week long. It's and that first day you fast, and like it's a whole thing. They give you the whole thing. It's like just Leviticus 23. It gives you the rundown, and all these holidays are in July, and I was a little like wow, because I didn't know these things. Like I said, I'm still in my infancy when it comes to the Bible. So a lot of things like I do know some things, but a lot of stuff I'm reading and learning for the first time. So when you said the Easter thing, but let me move on. So my topic is gender roles, and this came up for me because I was watching YouTube. Like I like the last few months I've been on YouTube a lot, like a lot, and the gender war thing is like super heavy, And a lot of times I kind of like scroll past it because to me it's a bunch of nonsense. But I am a big sports guy, and a lot of my stuff deal with sports. And the WNBA thing, and the Clarissa Shields thing, and the I forget her first name. She's a soccer player. With the short hair. Rapino. I forget her first name. She plays for the U.S. team, or I think she might have just retired. But
Is it Melissa or Jennifer? I thought it was Melissa or Jennifer for Rapino.
it might be. I forget her first name. Like I'm not really a big soccer guy. Like when World Cup come around, I might kind of tune in a little bit. But other than that, soccer is like to me is like watching paint dry. I'm sorry, it's super boring. you know, but they're constantly talking about equal pay, and it made me kind of think, or take a look at the landscape of in general on the gender thing, and women fighting for equal rights, fighting for equal pay, and all these things. Now, I'm gonna say this right, and I want to be very, very clear. It's gonna sound misogynistic and toxic masculinity and whatever pop terms these people come up with. But sometimes the truth hurts. Now, when I say this, I am speaking specifically and only towards physical strength and physicality. That's it. That's all I'm speaking. I'm not talking about how women think. I'm not. This is not what I'm saying. So I want to be clear about that. Because I don't want. What I don't want to do is get into a back and forth in the comments with women, and I don't want to do that. So this is why a lot of times I just kind of avoid this kind of stuff altogether. Because it's a no-win situation when you're going back and forth. Me being a man and I'm arguing back and forth with a woman. It's just you can't win. It's always going to be you know I'm a male chauvinist pig. I'm misogynistic. I'm this. I'm that. And toxic and all this old goofy stuff. So I avoid this a lot. I don't even do that. Like like when I'm on TikTok and the chicks start doing this, I just ignore them. I don't even respond. I just let whoever else in the comments want to jump on them and you fight that fight. I'm not fighting that fight. That's probably the only smoke that I duck. I don't duck no smoke, but that's probably the only smoke that I duck. But anyway, they want to be treated equal, but the fact of the matter is, we're not equal. We're not. Okay? In sports, we're not equal. Out in the real world, we're not equal. Now, when we're talking about physical labor, I don't see women out there with these shovels digging these ditches. And if they are out there, it's very, very few of them. Because now, look, I'm in the construction business. I've been on many construction sites. And I'm telling you now, what happens is this. When you're on these construction sites, and there are women on these construction sites, you know what they do? They hold up the signs. This is what they do. They out there in traffic when the trucks is backing up and they holding up the signs. Because physically they just cannot lug the bags of cement. Now don't get me wrong, there are some women out there in the construction business who do have skills. There are women welders, there are women carpenters, there are women plumbers. But it is so very few of them. Why? Because these jobs are physically demanding. You won't see the women out there on these steel beams. You won't see them, in the blast zone. You won't see them pulling the rocks. You won't see them. You won't see none of these things because it's physically demanding. Me as a man, if I'm doing a demo job, after a demo job, I'm on the shelf for 2 days. Why? Because it's taxing on the body. It hurts. It's physically demanding. But see, here's the thing though. They're not arguing for equal pay about those jobs because those are not the jobs they want. They're arguing about equal pay for the jobs with the air conditioning and things of these nature. You see? So we are not equal. This is why there's not equal pay. because physically you just cannot do these jobs. You can't. I don't see y'all lugging these railroad tracks and things of these nature. It just doesn't happen. They're not there. Now, in the sports world, you have this woman, Clarissa Shields. She's a boxer. She's running around talking about she can beat a man. Now, here's the thing. She might be more skilled, but when she's throwing these punches, the guy's gonna walk through it. And she's not talking about beating up a regular, regular guy off the street. She's talking about beating another professional boxer. Even a guy with lesser skill is gonna walk through her punches. He's only got to hit her one time. And the proof was in the pudding when she was sparring with a guy and he went a little too hard and he put her on her back pockets. Then she made up all these excuses as to he took the cushion out of his gloves, he did this, he did. First of all, you're wearing headgear. So even taking no, this is like who's taking cushion, who's taking the padding out of their gloves in a sparring match? That's just ridiculous. Okay? It's ridiculous. You got put in your back pockets because you was arrogant and you was being foolish to think that you could do this. Now, even when men spar against men, whoever's the big ticket, whoever's got the fight coming up, the guy he's sparring goes lighter because he doesn't want the guy to get hurt. He doesn't want to get cut. All this, accidents happen. So they don't go full speed. So here it is, you jibber jabbing, tell him to pick it up. He does. You get put in your back pockets. You make excuses. Now the WNBA, because that's the hot topic. Now these women complain about money, and they're not getting a bigger share. You're not getting a bigger share because your league doesn't make money. And at the end of the day, this is the entertainment industry. If you are not entertaining, then people will not come see you. When you walk around very masculine, talking like a man, and some of these women they bop harder than me, and I've been bopping for a long time. You walk hard. Like this is not marketable. This is not what people want to see. So I'm saying that to say this. This goes back to gender roles. Now, as much as women hate, or some women, I'm not going to say all, as much as some women hate, the gender roles, and there shouldn't be gender roles, it's natural. This is what it is. This is how we were built. This is how God made us. Okay? This is why we are not equal. This is why you cannot do certain things. Stay in your role. Know your role. Same thing goes for men. Stay in your role. Know your role. Gender roles are very, very important. Because if you don't know your role, how could you know where to go? How do you know how to be a woman, how to be a man, how to be a husband, how to be a wife? If you don't have these roles, how can you know these things? The man protects the woman protects the child, and together we protect society. This is how it goes. This feminist way of thinking is destroying our communities. And what people fail to understand is this. This is the only country this crap goes on in. You don't see this in the Middle East. You don't see this over in Russia. You don't see this over in wherever. You don't. It's so pronounced over here. And this is something that cannot be a coincidence. This is by design. And this non-gender role thing that's going on is so pronounced in the Black community. And it's literally destroying us. It's destroying us. Because what happens is this. Guys like Kevin Samuels, right, gets a huge, huge following because men are feeling like they're not being heard because the feminist voice is so loud. This is why guys like that can exist. This is why you have terms like toxic masculinity. And toxic masculinity is not even a real term. It does not exist. It's a term that was invented in the early '90s by a bunch of by a bunch of jail psychologists studying convicts in prison. They didn't understand why guys just inside would go from 0 to 60, and somebody steps on somebody's shoe, and then out of nowhere they just start stabbing each other. You know, so the term was invented then. Somehow mainstream psychology got a hold of the term, and now it's a pop term. So now when you say something that people don't agree, or you do something that people don't agree with, they coin it toxic masculinity. Toxic is just toxic, because you can go online and you can find thousands of people that's toxic, male and female. What I never hear is feminine toxicity. And if this can be masculine toxic, if you can be masculine toxic, whatever, where's the feminine side? You know what I'm saying? I kind of got stumbled on the words there, but this is what I'm saying. And all of this stems from the elimination of gender roles. This is why these things is important. This is why when you get into your book, it clearly gives you roles. Clearly. Now, if you crack open your book, your Bible, read the word, there are tons and tons of scripture with guidelines on how to be a wife, how to be a husband, and clearly defines the roles of these roles. Now, again, I'm not trying to diminish a woman's role by no means, but truth hurts, and the fact is, we are not equal. We are not. And it's funny how no one wants to, women don't want to submit to these roles, until things start to go left. Now you want that toxic masculinity. Now you want that guy that's going to beat on his chest. Everybody hates the warrior until the enemy's at the gate. So, ladies, I'm saying this. I'm saying what's to say this. Be careful what you wish for. Be careful what you say. Be careful what you do. And know your role. Because at the end of the day, when the enemy's at the gate, you're going to want us to play our role. So play yours.
I think again, once again, this does go back to, yeah, we're disconnected from the source when it comes to those guidelines. Naima says it is crazy. With my boyfriend, he had to tell me that I don't have to do everything myself. Now I'm going to ask you this, and again, I understand if this is offensive, but sis Naima, this has been your boyfriend for a while. We've been rocking. You've been rocking about 2-3 years with me, right? Why aren't y'all married yet? I'm just wondering, because sis, if something, it's not if, it's a when. When things happen, and your boyfriend is in the military, correct? So, and I want to also give a huge just shout out to the 3 Georgia um armed force members that lost their lives literally the first day of Black History Month. And I will be doing a special um, commemorative ceremony with Colored Only Cafe on the 27th here in Athens. And um, uh, definitely with all due respect to those two women and one gentleman, with all due respect. But because but I wanted to just, I thought of that in regards to this because I know your boyfriend is in the Marines. Um, since if something happens, there's got to be certain you know accommodations that they have for wives, and again, that's also a part of the word. We got to be sis, wasn't ready for what? Wasn't ready for what? Um, and because I think that that's again because I know that you have children. I know you have a few children, and I don't know if you and your boyfriend have any together. But remember, your children are watching that too, and we have to create and recreate a appreciation for marriage in our culture. We really, really do, because that those young men, as my husband was saying earlier, they won't aspire to be husbands. The girls won't aspire to be mom. I mean, won't aspire to be wives because they're like, well, my mom did it. Marriage, I haven't really been aromatic, but you understand the value of that companionship, and you also understand the value of, I guess, presenting or being a representative or an example for your children. I'm just not going to ride with this whole thing when people say marriage ain't for everybody, but these same people like to have sex. But marriage ain't for you, but you like having sex. You like the companionship. You like the marriage is work. It really is, and I do understand that. And there are highs and lows, but we can't escape the accountability. Right, and I hear you there too. So then you create it. You
Oh,
create.
you
Go
know
ahead.
what?
Dave. You want to say
Real
something?
quick.
Go ahead.
Yeah, okay, with marriage, I haven't been around positive relationships. Okay, so I want to say maybe about, okay, my cousin been with his, they've been together for like 30 years. They going on like 30 years. Like they like this they've been rocking hard. Three kids. They've been married for I think 25. Almost no, they haven't reached 25, almost 25. Almost. Not yet, almost. Because it's crazy too. I got all the pictures in my bin they sent me. They got married. Anyway, that's neither here nor there. But when he told me, he said, he came down to see me. I was down South Jersey. I was inside at the time. He came down to see me. He was like, "Yo, I'm about to get married." Da, da, da. I'm like, "What?" I said, "Why?" Right? Now, mind you, I was super young at the time. I think I was like I was maybe about 25, 26. And I'm inside at the time, so I'm that's not even in my thought process. And he said, "Cuz, you know what?" He said, I want to give our family something else to see. Like we've been doing it we've been doing it this way for so long. I gotta have something to show. At the time they didn't have kids. He said, I gotta have something to show my kids that this is the way to do it. And I want to show them something different. And when he said it, at the time I was like, cuz bugging. He wow. It's we in our 20s, man. We need to be kind of running out there, you know, sowing our oats, this, that, and the other. But as I got older, I understood it better. And I understood what he was talking about. Like it took a couple of years for it to sink in, because I'm kind of a knucklehead, and sometimes some things it take a while to sink in. You ain't got the grease so fast either. It's that's why you're muted. But Naima, sometimes you got to be able to show something different. So yeah, you may have seen some bad relationships, but you know what? If not now, then when? If not us, then who? So somewhere along the line, you gotta be able to break that chain. You gotta be able to break that cycle. We got as a people, and it's not just relationship stuff. It's the whole thing. We gotta be able to break these cycles and get off that hamster wheel. Because what happens is this: if your son or your daughter sees that mom and dad is not married and they haven't been, and they've been together for 15, 20 years, whatever the case is, what they see is marriage is not necessary. And it is on a lot of different levels. One, you want to be right with the big guy. That's number one. Two, for legal reasons, you want to be legit. You want to be legitimized because if you're not married and God forbid something happens to one of y'all, you know, where's the legal standing for a girlfriend? Where's the legal standing for a boyfriend? You have none. You have none. So if you have like house together, property together, whatever, and these things is in his name, you know what happens? It goes to his last surviving relative or whatever the case that may be. And if y'all have no kids, it goes to like his mom or his sister, brother, whatever. And not saying that this would happen, but I have seen it happen where a sibling comes and is like, nah, you gotta get the fuck out of here. Excuse my language. You gotta get out of here. You gotta go. Now I don't care. I didn't like you from the rip. You was bad for my brother anyway. You gotta go. So now you have no place to live. But as a wife, as a spouse, you have all the rights. So again, spiritually and legally, marriage is the way to go. So
It is. I'm just going to do a really quick story before we transition into our closing topic about, when Devon and so before meeting my husband, I was abstinent. I was abstinent for 7 years and just, just working, on myself um I had to my children were relatively young when I, first, not just when I got divorced, but when I exited out of the last relationship that I was in prior to getting married. And even in that relationship, we were engaged. We just, we were together for about 3 years. We were engaged for the last year. We just didn't get married. But I remember just really having that conversation because my celibacy or abstinence started shortly after our engagement. Um, because I was, first of all, counseled by not one, not two, but three, um, uh, you know, people, brethren of the cloth of the faith that advise, hey, if you guys aren't going to separate households and you're not going to move out and he's not going to move out, you need to at least stop consummating something that is not, is not spiritually sound yet, ahead of the marriage. So I had stopped, having those relations. But I remember there was a moment after we broke up, and I was just like, you know, I wanted to get back out there immediately. I've never been a person that liked being alone, like being a solo. I'm used to being in a relationship. I'm used to being coupled up. I was married at 19 and, was with my ex-husband for about 15 years. And then when we, got divorced, I got into another relationship and another relationship. And it was amazing to me that when I took sex off the table, when I said I want to get, I want to get in another relationship, but I established from the get go, I wanted to be with my husband. I didn't want to be in a relationship where I was kind of, figuring it out if I like this guy and we're having these sexual relationships the whole while. And when I took sex off the table, it's amazing how the dating pool dried up Immediately. It was like, nobody was checking for that. And because I would say it literally the first day, like, um, I didn't wait until, okay, we're on the third date or, the third conversation on the phone. Like I would say it like immediately. Like, I'm abstinent, been abstinent, looking for marriage. And um, many people, men and women, discouraged me from doing that. They were just like, sis, that's just too soon. You want to wait, you want to do this and that. And I said I couldn't do that because you know why? I had children and I had little eyes watching. And I did not want to have to feel like I had to compromise that principle in myself and lead gentlemen on. And then, now they've built up a relationship with my kids and that sort of thing. And then I'd say, oh, we can't have no sex. Um, well, you need to pick it, honey. You definitely need to pick it. Um, um,
Hold up, Courtney. I'm gonna let you finish, but I got it with this. Listen, Naima, look, you here? Most of the time we here, sis. You bugging. You bugging. You bugging. Look, this man is like, look, come on. And I'm gonna tell you something about men.
mm,
Women are a little more romantic than men, and probably a lot more. But when the man is saying, listen, let's go, then you got to go. You got to go. You got to do it because what's gonna happen is he may stop asking. He
mm.
may stop asking.
And then, yeah, I agree. I agree wholeheartedly. He stops asking, or he's no longer asking you. um,
Because he's
because
ready.
there is something about turning that down. That's a huge rejection for men. It really is. And like I said, I know that you guys have been together for a minute since we've become interactive, and I know it's been a couple of years. So he loves you. He's solid, and you've said so many times, many times. So give that some faith. Water your seeds of faith there. But just to finish up the conversation before we close out our discussion, y'all been rocking today. We appreciate that because we know it's been a while. So and it's good to know that on a Sunday we can find a nice, y'all been solid in here during this time, for the most part. But that's what was so refreshing, because when Devon and I met, and when we were having that conversation, we were about 2 months or so in, you know, when we decided to go ahead and actually get married. We were only 2 months into knowing each other, but from day one, I had said, hey, I'm, abstinent, and I don't do a let's date to figure it out. So if we gonna do this, it's got to be something all the way. And he said, well, what do you mean date to figure out what? And I was like, because I know sometimes people date. I said, I don't know. I don't know you. I don't know if that's what your intentions are. I mean, like, I want to get married. He said, well, I don't want to I don't want to just date for nothing. And I was like, okay. So that was like our first conversation, our first two, I believe, conversations. Then our first two conversations. So when the
It was more like the third because our first conversation was kind of.
mm,
I think I was still in Georgia. Our first conversation is crazy because we was on the phone for like what, almost 3 hours.
no, that 3 hour conversation. Oh yeah, that was Georgia. Yeah, you
Yeah,
were
I was
you
still in
were
Georgia.
still,
I was at J. I think I had just came from work. I was at J House, and
yeah.
yeah, we was on the phone for like 3 hours.
Yeah,
We
this
just kind of
conversation, that you're right. It was when you were back in New York, because that conversation was when you
yeah,
were back in New York.
right.
But at any rate, it was not a hesitation. It was not a, and it was very refreshing, because I had, of course, some discussions with other people, and I couldn't believe how like there was one gentleman I was dating, actually the one I was dating right before Devon. He was going through a divorce and he wanted to still be intimate. And I said, first of all, like, you're not even divorced officially, but you want to have, relations, and you ain't even, like, we violating on all types of levels here. Like, I'm coming out of what I should be doing just to even be dating you, and you're not divorced. But the fact that and this was someone who was into the church very heavy and still on YouTube and Facebook, be posting up his scriptures daily and his talks and that sort of thing. And so the fact that this man was, again, just like I talked about in the beginning of the conversation today, he's like literally acting upon hypocrisy. Like, he's not even divorced, but he wants to enter into a sexual relationship. And it was like, where did you do that at? No, I'm not going there. Like, because first of all, I want to be with my husband, and you're not even available to be my husband. You're not even available. So the principles and the standards have got to come, just that, forcefully. We got to be very intentional, because again, we got little eyes watching. We got we got a whole generation watching. And if they see, and I always made that clear to both of my children, I don't want y'all ever to think I want to do this by myself. I have never been on that INDEPEN. No, I never wanted that. I wanted the door open. I want to be a passenger princess for life, honey. I love having the role. I want to be in that kitchen. I want to be barefoot and pregnant. I enjoy that. I enjoy that. So, but closing out onto our last conversation, we gonna do this all the time, no matter what topic we talking about. We're gonna always close it out with our conversation about what reparations. So, I wanted to give a big shout out to Tamara Sheely Johnson. She has been um, a advocate in the field, and she does do something called Reparations Sunday. So I do want you all to take a look at that. The link is queued up through the website. Again, it's about getting in alignment with people on this same wavelength, because it blows my mind that in this day and age, in this time of day, that we as a people can look at each other struggling to make it day to day, having our labor exploited, our pockets run through, and we say, excuse me, we're having a burp, but we're not focused on getting reparations, but we want to sit around and talk about the Usher halftime show. And I still ain't watched it and ain't gonna watch it. I don't give a crap. I don't care about that stuff. Usher baby ain't fighting for reparations. Then I ain't giving him none of my energy or my time today. I don't care. I don't care who he brought out. Unless he bringing out that rep bill, and and Biden, and he got the signatures. That would have been an incredible halftime show to me. Okay, they signing the bill, because singing the lift every voice and sing. Yeah, that's beautiful. That's still performative. That ain't doing nothing. When 70% of that leave is still susceptible, that's New York soundtrack. That's New York soundtrack. You know
Now,
that's New York
I,
soundtrack.
that's because I got the window open. Like,
Okay, you can put that on mute when you see it going like that.
I didn't know it was gonna go like that. That's more than one.
Anyway, so but that's the real, y'all. Like, anybody that's not standing 10 toes down and standing on this reparations business. I've made that my mission, especially in this month of February. I'm not giving nobody no attention that ain't talking about reparations and ain't being active in it. And that goes for this and this, honey. That goes for both sides. If you know, you're not, if you're here and you're not actively assisting and interested, and you can't even pick up a newsletter subscription, honey, I don't have no time for you. And I'm about to prune my whole Facebook for real, because listen, those numbers of the visitors and the subscribers to our P4R today to the newsletter, the voice, they literally, it struggles, okay, to stay in the, we have like a 70% viewership. Now here it is on my other site, our other site, Colored Only Cafe, always at 100. Literally had almost 2,000 visitors in the last month. Now, what is that? What is that? So I'm not going to let you play. I'm not going to let people play in our face when it comes to this reparations topic. If you cannot pick up a newsletter subscription, it is $20.24 if you do it through the website. It is $16.19 if you do it through Cash App. And I'm not going to even begin to entertain these conversations from people talking about, oh, well, you know, they don't have the money, when I know you're going to Chick-fil-A. I know you're going to Starbucks. I know you're going to get your acrylic sets. I know you're going on your trips. I know you're getting your liquor. Okay. And then on the end of that, I know you sitting around paying somebody rent. You know, I know you're doing that because 70% of us are holding up the system. So let's not pretend like $20.24 or $16.19 is going to be raping your pocket so bad. And I don't care about anybody saying, oh, they get tired of seeing the links. I'm overwhelming. Because like our good friend, our brother God brother Palmetto said, yeah, they not reporting McDonald's and Taco Bell. You ain't reporting nobody. So he said, I don't feel bad about spamming nobody. I'm a spam, not a scam. I'm a spam though. I'm gonna spam the heck out of it because you ain't reporting nobody else, and you get those notices and those commercials and those emails all day about that dead meat, okay? About them wax fries, about that poison that you're putting into your body. And if you cannot support us in just that small little way, while we're literally out here boots on the ground doing this work for real, creating a space where we're starting have created a rent-free revolution. We're doing it. We're living it. Not telling people, oh, we need to not be paying rent, and then you turn around and we talking about some, well, our rent is too. And I've literally seen so many content creators do this. My rent, they put up their what their rent is, $2,000-$3,000, but they sitting around telling you about how to get your finances together. You can't tell me nothing about get my finances together when you taking 70% of your finances and paying somebody some rent. No. This is the number one poverty creator, and you're supporting the system of it. So until we can stand up with that as a unified front, I'm not dealing with no lukewarmness in this energy, not in this day and time. So that's my reparations rant for today. Babe, you have anything you want to add to that?
To that, no.
Yes.
I think I'm good on the reparations rant. You kind of yeah. I think I'm good.
Okay. Well,
but you know what? I will say this though. You know, I don't. do McDonald's because McDonald's is disgusting and it's probably like little babies in them
Disgusting.
burgers. Um,
Yeah.
but I did have a frappuccino.
Yeah.
Cause we got some frappuccinos at one of the stops, and it was kind of good though. I only had the one though. Only had the one. You know, we hit about 19 states, but only had the one. Um, it was good though, babe. It was good. I'm just saying, it was good. But I only had one. I didn't have another
All
one.
right. I were you offered another one
Yes,
and you turned it down?
I definitely did.
So you're not gonna get your reparations and frappuccinos because McDonald's writing down right now. They
Oh
about to
no.
send you. They about to say,
Oh
"Hey, we can't be paying you no reparations, but we gonna send you some of those frappuccinos, but we know you like it."
no, no, no. They can take that. No. What? No.
Thank you. So they can take that. I don't know why somebody mentioned that then. That you've done messed up my reparations rant flow.
No, no, no. Reparations down right now today.
You better be so glad you were not in the building because honey, I would be taking a long nap, and it wouldn't be no disturbance.
I be trying to figure out who keep lying to you like this.
Anyway, at any rate, y'all, check for us. We're looking forward to being back on Wednesday. Y'all, we are in full countdown mode with the Youth Empowerment Summit here in Athens, GA, going to be held at the Boys and Girls Club located at 705 4th Street. Leave it to Athens. How it's numbers on top of number streets, but I guess New Yorkers are used to that. That is something that is it's odd for me to have numbers on top of a numbered street. Yeah, I
What do
like
you mean?
I like to have names and then the number on the after, but it's almost like having two first names and that sort of thing. But at any rate, y'all check back for us on Wednesday, where we'll be back with what's in the word. And we're looking forward to a couple of very cool announcements in regards to our developing show, A Couple of Forevers. So we can start bringing on some couples. Okay, so Naima, it's got to be married couples, and we would love to have you and Mr. Semper Fi. We would love to have y'all join us on one of these conversations. Um, so with that being said, you all, I want us to go with light, with love, and with real intention with this week coming up. And I mean, really intentionally seeking the connection with the source, with getting into some of God's word, okay, and with really just creating an understanding with yourself, with your family about what matters, your principles, because it's a lot of foolishness out there, y'all, and that's a lot of distraction. And we have got to be very intentional about who gets our energy. So that being said, have a great week, everybody, and stay in the word. Stay in the word.